Welcome to the Your Little Castle Show, where we highlight the best experts that make your home into your little castle. Let's go! Hello everybody, we're in the Your Little Castle studio here. We could not put on this show without the awesome support of such incredible sponsors. Ones we're giving a shout out today, specifically Cherokee Hauling, CherokeeHauling.com. The owner there is Mike Tallis. Mike is a buddy of mine. Played some competitive baseball together. Mike's an incredible baseball player. He's an awesome guy, a great family man, but he's also a great business owner too. And so if you take a look here at some of the work that they've done, there's their logo, Cherokee Hauling, CherokeeHauling.com. Give a shout out to these guys. Show some support, because what they're doing now is really helping those who need to build, construction, and all of the other vital necessities. Their website you can see up here behind me, and CherokeeHauling.com will give you all the information you need so that you can get your hauling needs taken care of. Get a hold of my buddy Mike Tallis. You can see him and his wife there in the picture, and they're just an awesome couple that does a great job supporting our community. They've been doing business for a long time, and this is an exciting sponsor to have on our show here with the Your Little Castle Show. Check them out, Cherokee Hauling, CherokeeHauling.com. Thanks everybody. Giddy up. Here we are in the Your Little Castle studio. Our sponsor right there, Carroll House Furniture. You know, it's integral to keep your castle as your own little family's safe place. You need to have the proper authorities and legislation and the people who make the decisions to keep us safe in the building. So ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Rodney Holmes in studio with us here. He is the Assistant United States Attorney. He went to a little law school based out of St. Louis called St. Louis University School of Law.
That's correct.
Welcome to the show, Rodney.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Carter.
Well, tell me, what is it like to be the Assistant United States Attorney?
It's a pretty demanding job. Our job is to prosecute violent criminals. I'm the chief of the violent crime unit, so what we do is we prosecute the individuals that commit the worst of the worst crimes, for example, carjackings, the murder for hires, business robberies, bank robberies, and also gun prosecutions for individuals that have guns illegally. So it's a busy job.
Yeah, well, and St. Louis is a wonderful city that has a lot to offer, and there's a lot that goes on in a big city, and so we need the law to keep us in order, to keep us out of trouble, and to keep those who might be going a little bit off the path back in line.
Yes, we
and,
do.
We
all want to be safe.
Got to be. Safety is the first and most elementary component. If you, I talk about this periodically. Are you familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yes.
Yeah, I say somebody like yourself probably is familiar with that. But yeah, literally the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like food and safety, at the very bottom of the triangle they make there, because that's the, you don't have that, you have nothing else. Yeah, so
that's the base.
And then you take everything up there, and then ultimately you end up with, what's the top one? We'll reflect on that in a minute to talk about it. But it's where essentially purity. You're up to be able to help other people, and that's what it really boils down to. But yeah, a wonderful city we live in here with a lot of great things we like to talk about. So we're going to talk a little bit in the corner. I'm going to switch back over here to camera. We'll go camera. I'm going to go to camera 2, and as you can see, we got our leaders here, and Rodney is definitely one of those. We know each other through baseball, so as I put this camera on you and say, everybody look at camera, there he is, and look at this in the corner, that picture. I was starting to edit that to cut myself out, but as relevant to the show we've got here, and I'll go ahead and put this on so both of us, we can still talk about it well, because that's your title. But that's at the Semi-Pro Hall of Fame induction.
That's correct.
Where both of us ended up getting inducted. Were you inducted that day also?
Yes, I was.
Right, because yes, I mean, I should say, I mean, we were all inducted, but it was, Mr. Turbin did a great job there.
Yes, he did. It was I got inducted in 2020, but because of COVID, they didn't have any inductions. So Tim came up with the idea of, hey, it's easier for me to come to St. Louis and induct everybody than having everyone travel to Indiana for the induction. So that's what happened.
And that is what happened. And so now we end up with a huge group of people that literally baseball reunited. It was such a neat event.
Yes, it
Tell
was.
everybody what you thought about that. We've got a video up here we can replay for everybody. We might play in the background while we've got that going here.
Yeah. It was a great event. You know, I got there and immediately I started recognizing, seeing old faces, people that I played against, 20, 25 years ago or longer. You, for example, everyone is familiar with the Cardinal Cowboy, but I really didn't make the connection until the Hall of Fame ceremony. You played for a team called the St. Louis Spikes.
That is true.
Well, I played for years in the Montclair League, and when the St. Louis Spikes joined the Montclair League, their manager, Jay Davis, who was a great guy who unfortunately passed, me, Jay, Brian Harshaney, Ed Emge were the youngest managers in that room. So you had the Vern Moores and the Vineyards. They'd been managing forever. The league started in 1966. Right. So us young folks would sit together and we'd sit back and we'd listen to them. We kind of elbow each other, and as they went on and on and on, so that's how I got to know Jay, and you were on that team. So we played against each other. I just never made the connection.
Got the picture up there of you receiving your Hall of Fame class of 2020.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that is awesome, man. Just so cool because, I mean, that's literally where it all comes back to the stuff that we were working on. As I felt like a kid back when I was 28. I'll never forget. I was 28, and I said, Jay, I tell you what, man, if you would run this team, start a team, we would all play for you. I just kind of identified him as the guy who I felt everybody would follow. And he looked at me and goes, okay. And I'm like, uh-oh. Well, I can't.
Rest is history.
I can't leave a guy out there without going to help him and be part of that. He's up on the wall up there. We might grab that picture as I put. That's what I'll do. I'll put the camera on you, and then I'll run over there. Remind me not to. I'm looking down at my microphone, everybody, so that I don't end up walking off with the mic connected still. But baseball is an institution. It is a way of life. I don't know if you heard my little talk because they had me up there. Essentially, I was wondering why they called me because I hadn't been super involved with the team for a number of years.
Right.
And as I was talking to him, Tim, I'm like, he's making sure we want to be at this thing. And then I said, and then Kit texted me and said, hey, do you have stats from the show or from the season? From back in the day, because I used to help do all that stuff too, and I said, well, I'll find what I've got, and then I go, what are they getting stats for? He goes, because all the guys who were elected, that's what we were elected, we weren't yet inducted.
Right.
Because nobody drove down. One guy from our team, Mike Tallis, did drive down to Evansville. I got invited to drive down, I just didn't make it. And then he said, we're coming up here and we're going to do the official. So I said, and he said, Jay Davis is going to be inducted. I'm like, well, we can't have this show up with like two guys for that.
Right.
So then I reached out to everybody I could, and we ended up having 2 tables full. It was kind of but we talked about how baseball essentially is an institution for life.
It is.
And it gives people, talk about that and your perspective on how baseball is so critical to what we do here in our community.
Baseball is the great unifier. When you're talking about baseball now, you're not worried about socioeconomics. You're not worried about race. You're all ball players. You're out there in between the lines trying to win a game. Everybody playing as hard as they possibly can in a sport where, baseball is about failure. So it teaches a lot of lessons. If you bat at a 30% clip, you're Hall of Fame material, and that's failing everywhere else. So it teaches you to do your best. If you don't succeed, you have to shake it off because the next game is the next day, and you just keep going, and you have to put the work in and so forth. One of the things that was really important to me, and I started playing baseball organized ball probably at 6, 7 years old. Can't remember. People ask me, when did you start playing catch? I said, I have no recollection of that. Probably around the time I started walking, because baseball was in the family. My grandmother's brother, great uncle, played in the Negro Leagues with the Birmingham Black Barons, and I think he was in the 1943 Negro League World Series between Birmingham and the Homestead Grays, I think.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I had the good fortune of meeting somebody who'd played back in the early 1900s, still around. I was talking to a lady doing my thing I do at the Cardinal game and taking pictures with fans. And the lady reached over and she says, "Hey, do you know who that is?" And I said, "No." Who? He says, "This is one of the oldest, played in that same league years ago, the Negro Leagues back." I mean, that was the foundation for a lot of what baseball came from. A lot of people, they had, back in the day, obviously two separate leagues. But literally, they had some of the best players. Satchel Paige is like the most famous that everybody knew about. And came over, and I thought somebody said he was pitching until he was like 59 or 60 in the league still. Did you know anything about that?
Yes, he did.
Is that true?
I think Kansas City A's, because I think that's before they moved to Oakland. He pitched the inning, and he was 60 or something like that. It's pretty incredible, man.
That is insane.
It is pretty incredible.
Pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, baseball, with regard to, part of the conversation you and I were having, I guess, a little bit at the banquet. And then since then, we talked about how we were going to record this show, and we would take the opportunity to share our thoughts a little bit about just the way the world developed in baseball, what it's had to do in our community, in our society, and really how it is a foundation for this country.
Right.
And so many people, they don't understand the importance of being able to be part of a team and all that goes into that.
Right.
And literally where we're at. Talk about, if you would, a little bit about how St. Louis has developed, and a little bit about the Colts, and where you started this. And ladies and gentlemen, Rodney took over the team, helped finance the team, put everything together to get this team to get on the east side of St. Louis. And literally, the Colts are like a hallmark for semi-pro baseball.
Yeah, they were a charter member of the Montclair League that started in 1966. They played every year. They were in that league every year up until the end of the 1995 season. I was on that roster and on the 95 team. That was my first year of law school, and the team folded. I'm in law school, so I'm broke. So I don't have any resources. But I graduated from SLU Law in 97, started working, and I started the team back in 2000. So after I started working, I said, East St. Louis, we need this team. And it's an adult league, but what people don't realize that when you go off and play college baseball, you have to come home and you got to play ball somewhere. The last thing your coach is going to tell you, make sure you play ball this summer, unless you're going off to one of the organized summer leagues or something that the team has a connection with. So I'd come home, I'd play with the Colts, and they folded. So my whole thing was, we need this for these kids that are in school so they can come home and play ball. They don't have to go to another city or find another team. They can come home. So what I did, I start saving my money, because I used a lot of my money, but I also called some people that I had connections with. I called Ozzie Smith, and he helped. Ozzie Smith was my idol growing up, as so many people in St. Louis.
Same here.
One of my friends from college, I went to Lincoln University in Jeff City, played ball there. But Joe Torre, and a lot of people know that name, not the baseball manager. Joe Torre, the actor comedian from St. Louis. He was on Poetic Justice. He was the host of HBO, Def Jam. He's my best friend. So Joe knew that I was an Ozzie Smith fan, just nut. So he's in town, he calls me and he asked me to go to a game at St. Charles Family Arena. That's when they had the little semi-pro basketball team there, and so forth. So we get there and we're standing out, and I'm like, man, it's cold, are we going in? Wait. Ozzie pulls up. And we watched the game with Ozzie, and we clicked. We exchanged numbers to the point that when Ozzie got inducted into the Hall of Fame, I was on his guest list. I have a picture at the hotel by the lake, me and Ozzie holding that plaque. So that was the height of my baseball memories. I'm standing in the hotel, and you can't get autographs, but you can take pictures. And Willie Mays is walking by, and he looks at me and says, "How you doing, kid?" And I just froze. I couldn't even take a picture of him, man. But I got
Mays. Wow.
Yeah, I got good pictures with Reggie Jackson and Johnny Bench. They were on a balcony talking. They had some drinks, and Reggie sees me, and I'm getting ready to take the picture, and they tell me to hold up, and both Reggie and Johnny give me the toast, and I take the picture. It's an awesome shot, but that was all through Ozzie, man. He's a great guy, and I called him, and he offered his help. I also reached out to Homer Bush, who was the starting second baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays at that time, who had played with the Colts. So he helped. So Jackie Joyner Kersey Center, that's where our home fields were. So they allowed us to use their fields for free of charge. And it was just a bunch of people came together to make that happen. Church's Chicken gave us money, and we bought bases and so forth with that. But the whole goal was to make baseball accessible for the college kids, because when the Colts folded, it was, you know, people didn't have money and so forth to pay the fees and so forth. So what I did, I bought all the uniforms, paid all the league fees, got all the balls, and the only thing the players had to do is show up with their glove and bats and play. It's no financial burden on them, and that's what I did. And we got back in the league, and we.
How many people? Do people know you did that? I mean,
no,
that's
don't
something I know nobody like.
A lot.
But I had heard, I understood that, and I was just like, I don't know.
It's that important. I mean, you know, I grew up in East St. Louis, and you know, a lot of poverty, but you had people that the goal was to get to college and to be able to succeed. And baseball, academics, baseball, sports, was an avenue for that to happen. So I wanted to foster that, to make sure, to nurture that. So when you came home, there was a team for you to play on in the summer to hone your skills when you got back to college. And that was really important to me, and it was worth me spending my time and money to do it.
Well, that is so much the case. I tell you, I'm going to hold this up for everybody. This is my favorite picture in the entire history of the world. If everybody can see that. That picture, I'm actually going to zoom over to camera 3 here, and I was showing you how we can use our camera. Now I found a reason to use it, but this little picture that you can see right here, this is at a charity event recently. Everything's reversed on the camera, and right there. But look at that! Look at that picture. That is one of my all-time favorites for sure. And you know, as a kid, I literally was like, "That's who I want to be. Yeah. I want to be Ozzie Smith." And there's nobody in the history of baseball, especially with regard to shortstop. I think there's people that talk about Derek Jeter a lot, and I think he was not near the shortstop Ozzie Smith was.
Didn't have the hands that Ozzie had.
It was not even close when you really get down to it. But Jeter could hit a little bit. Ozzie hit pretty well too. Yeah. A lot of people they don't realize he was so well known for his glove. I mean, just amazing things he did with his glove that people were like, "Yeah, but you know he hit. Look at his average. You know he would hit in the 300s some years." And boy, I'll never forget that home run, that left-handed home
crazy,
run.
Folks. Go crazy.
Jack Buck, unbelievable. But yeah, Ozzie is literally a legend among legends. I mean.
And the nicest person you ever want to meet. Super
nice. Every time I see him, he always says hi to me, and he's super friendly.
Yeah.
And we'd love to have him on the show sometime. We'll reach out to them.
Another funny Ozzie story. The day he got inducted, I called him to congratulate him. I'm going on like, Ozzie, you're my hero, and this, that. And he listens. Typical Ozzie. He's listening. He said, "Rodney, you know you were a Gary Templeton fan," and I cracked up. But just a great guy, man. I mean. For him to even put me on his guest list is just
for the Hall of Fame. I mean, you've got to be like inner circle to do that.
I was sitting by Vince Coleman, and I mean, I'm 3 rows from the stage, and then access to in the hotel. It was just a dream come true. And
that is a dream.
Yeah.
But literally, as a child, everybody, some of you know this, and I'll say I don't know if I've mentioned this on camera before, but the truth is, as a kid, I was diving around the middle and doing my stuff up the middle. I'd get up, and I didn't flip behind the back too often during the game. That was a little risky to take that on. But I would make these diving plays. I had a gal walk up to me one time. She says, "You're on the baseball team, right?" Yeah, I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Are you the guy they call Ozzie Smith?" That was the most flattering I was like, not yet, not quite to that level. But I had been doing some cool plays, and I had I could go on. But literally, he was my inspiration for that. And I have a guy who said, Carter, what's it like to be the best shortstop to ever come out of Fenton? I'm like, I don't know how much that is to reclaim, but it was because I had such aspirations because of one guy, Ozzie Smith. And that was just,
and you just emulated everything he did. I know I drive my family crazy playing wall ball, you know, on the steps and on the wall, and the trick catches and so forth, and throwing the ball up in your bed at night with the eyes closed just to get the feel of it. And it's
you did that too.
We all did
we
that.
all did that. We all did
and
that.
my grandmother's like, boy, put that glove and ball down and go to bed.
I'll never forget, I had one of those rubber, it had like painted like it was a baseball, but it was just a rubber bouncy, super bouncy ball. You couldn't carry the baseball around the house. Mom would get mad about that. But I literally did. I lay in bed and I would throw it up in the air and catch it. With the lights on. Because if the lights were on, you were in trouble.
The quick exchange, backhand, hand moving, for all this stuff I was in, you know, we just.
Maybe that's why Rodney and I both made into the semi-pro baseball Hall of Fame, which was very neat. Well, I'll put that video over here. We'll share with everybody a little about this specific event. And you were on stage. We've got a picture of you for that. Let me take off our graphic here. But this was kind of a neat event. Would you agree? This is like.
It was a tremendous event. It's the National Semi-Professional Baseball Hall of Fame, and the caliber of ball players that were there. I see Mike Tallis on the screen, and me and Mike Tallis are teammates now because I'm still playing.
I heard he's playing for you.
They have old man baseball leagues, and most people don't know about it, but I'm on a 53 and over team, a 43 and over team, and a 40 and over team. Me and Mike are on the 40 team. But I mean, Neil Fiala was inducted, and just tremendous talent. Neil Fiala made it to the majors with the Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. Duran Stovall was inducted. He made it to the majors with the Montreal Expos. His dad was inducted. His dad is 67 years old, and he still catches in these adult leagues, man, just in phenomenal shape. But yeah, it just brought all these talented players together, and you know, for the most, baseball is a small community. We all know each other. We either were teammates or we played against each other. But just to have somebody, you know, honor what you did and just give you a tip of the hat, I mean, it's appreciated because you play for the love of the game. We didn't play for this. It's
right.
You know, so I was shocked. You know, I was like so many people, and I was small. I was a small guy. I think I graduated from high school at 128 pounds.
Wow.
I got stronger in college and so forth. And, you know, just you got to work at it. You know, baseball's a repetition sport, and you take the ground balls. And I remember in college, 6 in the morning, it's the winter, 6 in the morning, we're at the gym, taking the ground balls with the wooden paddle, you know, to get the hands soft, and got to take your cuts in the cage, and then you're sleepy, then you got to go to class. So, but just the work involved, and it's a tremendous game. You learn so much from it.
Well, like I said, I believe it's vital to the development of kids. Here's the picture. As you saw that ceremony, I'll throw that up on the screen real quick one more time. But there's a ceremony. That's Mike Tallis, and he's doing his tribute right there to Jay Davis. And then as soon as we did all that, then this is the guy we're talking about, everybody. And I'll do another zoom in here. But I have two heroes with their picture in my studio here, and this is the other one. This is Jay Davis, and literally ran the team like no one else, had so much respect. And Mike was talking about how, hey, one time somebody were goofing off, and Jay pulled him off the field and made him take off the jerseys and gave him a little lashing. He said, all right, now get back out there. So it really helped these young men, young guys, develop into men. And that's after college. This is when people are in their mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, and sometimes as old as you and I, we're in our mid-20s now.
But yeah, Jay, just to say a little bit about Jay. Jay was just an awesome human being. He was a great ball player, but even a better human being. And a lot of people don't know how big adult baseball is. There are tournaments every year in Florida and Arizona for the 35, 55, 45. tournaments, and you go there and you play on the minor league facilities, the spring training facilities. Jay was down there for one of the tournaments and lost his life in a car accident, and it was just gut-wrenching to everybody. But I mean, the nicest guy that you ever wanted to meet. And like I said, we would we play against each other, but we're at those league meetings, and it's like, where's Jay? Let me go find Jay to sit next to him, because we're the youngest ones there. The other guys had, were 70 years old and still managing and stuff. So we connected, and I mean, just an awesome guy. It's a huge loss.
Yeah, Susan, I cried for days after that. But a hero of ours that got, I argue that, and not to get, conversation goes wherever it goes here, ladies and gentlemen. But I argue that, like my father, Jay got the opportunity to be elevated to the next level a little bit sooner than the rest of us.
That's
the rest of us, we have some work to do still.
That's it.
And so we are not done here.
Yeah.
And so there's more requirements and more I have to earn with regard to what God has planned for me. And so I have to stick around here for a little longer. But Jay did so much incredible work. We're literally, I mean, they named the leagues after him and a couple in the MSBL, I think.
Yeah, some awards and so forth.
And then he's going to end up. We're supposed to build a bronze statue to him over at BMAC over there, which is I think pretty cool.
I actually coached. I don't know if you knew this. I actually coached the junior spikes with Eric Walls, because me and Eric Walls are real good friends, and I started playing with Eric probably in '96 when he came back from the Kansas City Royals organization.
Right.
But yeah, we coached the junior spikes together. So I've never played with the spikes, but I have a whole lot of spikes gear, the hats and so forth, because we wore the same uniforms and hats that the actual spikes did.
If you were to say one thing that the impact of this whole league has on you, Rodney, what you feel like it's meant for your personal life and your perspective on life, I guess, more than anything, what would you say that would be? Wow.
I mean, I owe a lot to baseball, because baseball gives you the drive. It gives you the determination. Baseball teaches you that, okay, of course you're going to fail, but you got to keep going. I mean, you're going to have games where you go over, but that doesn't mean you quit. You say, I'm going to get them next time. And you get up there, and this is one of the most important things. You get up there the next day, even the next at bat, I can't be concentrating about what just happened. I have to focus on now. And that's what life is. Bad things are going to happen. Failures are going to happen. But you learn your lessons from them.
Yes.
And you keep moving. You're not going to get me out with the same pitch twice, that kind of thing. You remember it, but you don't dwell on it, and you keep moving forward. You keep working. And that's what baseball teaches.
Probably one of my favorite quotes from my dad. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you are correct. Right? That's a powerful one. But the one along the lines of what you were just saying, it's not the error. And in life, we talk about mistakes or problems or whatever. But in baseball, we talk about errors. It's not the error that causes you to lose the game. It's how you respond to that error. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're finishing up here. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed our little rendition here of the Your Little Castle Show, and stay tuned as we continue with more excitement. Thanks, everybody.